Commander Lisa Harper stared at the message on her screen. The words glowed green against the black background, but they felt cold as ice in her chest. She read them 3 times, hoping they would change. They did not. The bridge of the UES Defiant hummed quietly around her. Stars streamed past the main window as they traveled through space at faster than light speed. Her crew worked at their stations, unaware that everything was about to change. Lisa had been in space for 15 years. She had seen alien worlds, covered in crystal forests. She had watched binary stars dance around each other in cosmic ballet. She had even shaken hands with creatures that looked like walking trees. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. The message was from Coalition High Command. The Coalition ruled most of the galaxy. Humans had joined them 100 years ago, grateful to be part of something bigger than their small solar system. The aliens had technology humans could barely understand. They had wisdom that came from millions of years among the stars. They had rules that kept peace between thousands of different species. One of those rules was simple. Do not interfere with developing species. Let them grow on their own. Let them make their own mistakes. Let them find their own path to the stars, or let them fail trying. Lisa understood the rule. She had followed it for her entire career. Young species needed to earn their place in the galaxy. Help them too much, and they would never become strong. It made sense, but this was different. Chief Science Officer Ben Carter walked up to her. Chair. He was a thin man with kind eyes and hands that never stopped moving when he talked. Today, his hands were still. That worried Lisa more than anything else. Commander, Ben said quietly. We need to talk, in private. Lisa nodded. She stood up and walked to her ready room, a small office behind the bridge. Ben followed her and closed the door. I intercepted something, Ben said, something that was not meant for human eyes. He handed her a data pad. Lisa looked at the information and felt her stomach drop. The Karathi. That was the name of the species. In the message from High Command, the aliens they were supposed to observe from far away and never contact. The ones they were supposed to watch and document and nothing more. But Ben's data told a different story. The Karathi were going to die. All of them. In 3 weeks, a field of asteroids would hit their home planet. The rocks were too big to stop with the Karathi's simple technology. Too many to avoid. Too fast to escape. Every man, woman, and child on that world would be dead in 3 weeks. The Coalition knows, Ben said. His voice was barely a whisper. They have known for months. They could help. They have ships that could move those asteroids. They have weapons that could break them apart. They have shields that could protect the planet. But they will not, Lisa said. It was not a question. No, they will not. They say it is natural selection. They say it is the way things must be. They say that if the Karathi are meant to survive, they will find a way. Lisa sat down in her chair. She felt very tired suddenly. How do you know all this? Ben smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Because humans are good at hacking alien computer systems. Because we are curious in ways that make the other species nervous. Because we ask questions they wish we would not ask. Lisa looked at the data again. Pictures of the Karathi world showed blue oceans and green continents. Cities with tall spires that caught the light of their sun. Farms that fed billions of people. Schools where children learned about their world. All of it would be gone soon. There is more, Ben said. He touched the data pad and new information appeared. The Karathi know what is coming. They have been sending messages into space for months. Radio signals, digital transmissions, even light patterns from their cities. What do the messages say? Ben was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice shook. They are asking for help. They know someone must be out there. They do not know about the Coalition. They do not know about humans. They just know they are going to die. and they are asking the universe to care. Lisa closed her eyes. She thought about her own world, Earth. She thought about what it would be like to know that death was coming from space. She thought about looking up at the stars and hoping, praying, that someone out there would hear their calls for help. She thought about being that someone and choosing not to answer. "Commander," Ben said softly, "there is something else. The messages from the Karathi. They are not just asking for help. They are sharing things, music, art, stories about their history, poetry about their hopes for the future. They want someone to remember them." Lisa opened her eyes. "Show me," Ben touched. The data pad again. Sound filled the small room. It was music, but unlike anything Lisa had ever heard. It was sad and beautiful and full of hope at the same time. Even though she did not understand the words, she could feel the emotion behind them. "This song is called something that translates to 'We were here,'" Ben said. "It is playing on every radio station on their planet. Children are learning it in school. Adults are singing it in the streets." The music stopped. The silence felt heavy. "What are you going to do?" Ben asked. Lisa stood up and walked to the small window in her ready room. Stars filled the view, tiny points of light in the endless dark. Somewhere out there, a world was singing its last song. Somewhere out there, billions of people were looking up at these same stars and hoping someone would care enough to help. The coalition's orders were clear. Stay away, do not interfere. Let nature take its course. But Lisa remembered why she had joined the space service. It was not to follow orders blindly. It was to explore, to help, to be the best that humanity could be among the stars. She thought about her crew. Navigator Amy Rodriguez, who had lost her family to alien raiders before the coalition brought peace to human space. Weapons Officer Jake Morrison, who had been a Marine and still believed that protecting innocent people was the most important job in the universe. Engineer Pete Collins, who fixed things because he could not stand to see them broken. Dr. Carol Newman, who had sworn an oath to preserve life wherever she found it. They had all joined the coalition because they believed it made the galaxy a better place. But what if they were wrong? What if the coalition was just another empire, dressed up in pretty words about wisdom and natural development? Lisa turned back to Ben. "How long until we reach the Karathi system? If we change course now and push the engines to maximum, we could be there in 18 hours. And how long until the coalition notices we are not where we are supposed to be?" Ben smiled, and this time it was a real smile. "About 19 hours, if we are lucky." Lisa nodded. She had made her decision. "Set course for the Karathi system," she said. "Maximum speed." "Yes, Commander," Ben said. He turned to leave, then stopped. "Lisa, thank you." She watched him go, then looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, a world was about to die. But not if she could help it. Even if it meant ignoring orders, even if it meant writing history in blood. Lisa walked onto the bridge. Her crew looked up at her with curious faces. They had been with her for 3 years. They trusted her. She hoped that trust would not break in the next few minutes. "Ben, plot a course for the Karathi system," she said in a clear voice. The bridge went silent. Every person stopped what they were doing. Navigator Amy Rodriguez turned in her chair, her dark eyes wide with surprise. "Commander," Amy said slowly, "that system is marked as restricted. Coalition orders say we are to maintain our current patrol route." "I know what the orders say," Lisa replied. "I am giving you a new order. Set course for the Karathi system. Maximum speed." Amy looked around the bridge. Other crew members were staring at Lisa like she had grown a second head. Communications Officer Steve Walsh stood up from his station. "Commander, with respect, we cannot do that," Steve said. His voice was shaking slightly. "The coalition will court-martial all of us. They might even expel humanity from the alliance." "Sit," Down, Steve, Lisa said firmly. That is not your decision to make. Weapons Officer Jake Morrison stepped forward. He was a big man with scars on his hands from his days as a Marine. What is this about, Commander? What is really happening out there? Lisa took a deep breath. The Karathi are going to die. All of them. In 3 weeks, asteroids will destroy their world. The Coalition knows this. They can help. They will. Not. The bridge erupted in angry voices. Some crew members supported Lisa immediately. Others argued that they had sworn oaths to the Coalition. Engineer Pete Collins slammed his fist on his console. Those alien bastards, Pete said. They are just going to let an entire planet die. It is not that simple, Steve argued. The Prime Directive exists for good reasons. We cannot interfere with developing species. The Prime Directive does not say we have to watch genocide, Jake said. His voice was cold and hard. I did not join the space service to stand by while innocent people die. Dr. Carol Newman walked onto the bridge from the medical bay. She had heard the argument from down the corridor. How many people are we talking about? She asked. 12 billion, then said quietly. Carol closed her eyes. 12 billion people. Men, women, children. All dead because we are too afraid to break a rule. Amy was still sitting at her navigation station. She had not moved since Lisa gave the order. Her hands were hovering over the controls, but she had not touched them. Amy, Lisa said gently. I need you to trust me. Amy looked up at her commander. My family died because aliens attacked our colony. The Coalition saved us. They brought peace to human space. If we break their rules, we might lose that protection. And if we follow their rules, we become the same as the aliens who killed your family, Lisa said. We become people who let innocent people die when we have the power to save them. Amy was quiet for a long moment. Then she turned to her console and began entering coordinates. Course laid in, Commander. Ready for maximum speed. Thank you, Lisa said. She sat down in her command chair. All hands. This is the Commander. We are changing course to help people who need our assistance. This action goes against Coalition orders. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle to the nearest Coalition base. No questions asked, no punishment. You have 5 minutes to decide. Lisa waited. She listened to her heartbeat in the silence. 5 minutes felt like 5 hours. No one left the bridge. No one asked for a shuttle. Take us to the Karathi system, Lisa said. Maximum speed. The stars outside the main window shifted as the ship changed direction. The Defiant surged forward, its engines pushing them faster than they had ever gone before. 16 hours later, Steve Walsh received a message from Coalition High Command. Admiral Vextar appeared on the main screen. He was a Zeltharian, tall and thin with silver skin and eyes like black holes. Commander Harper, the Admiral said in his cold voice. You are not at your assigned patrol coordinates. Explain. Lisa stood up. We received a distress signal, Admiral. We are investigating. There are no approved distress signals in that sector, Vextar said. Return to your patrol route immediately. I cannot do that, Admiral. People need our help. Vextar. Eyes narrowed. You are referring to the Karathi. You will not interfere with that situation. That is a direct order. Why? Lisa asked. Why must we let them die? Because that is the natural order. Species must prove themselves worthy of survival. The Karathi have had their chance. They have failed. You will not interfere. Lisa felt anger rising in her chest. 12 billion people are going to die. We have the power to save them. How is that natural? You question the wisdom of the Coalition. Vextar's voice became dangerous. You forget your place, human. Your species exists in this galaxy because we allow it. Do not test our patience. Lisa looked around the bridge. Her crew was watching her, waiting to see what she would do. She thought about the Karathi music she had heard. She thought about children learning songs about hope while death approached from space. "I am sorry, Admiral," Lisa said, "but I cannot follow that order." She nodded to Steve, who cut the transmission. The bridge was silent again. Everyone understood. What had just happened? They had defied the coalition. There was no going back now. 2 hours later, Amy's console started beeping with warnings. "Commander, I am detecting ships ahead. Big ones." The main screen showed space in front of them. At first, it looked empty. Then the ships appeared as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 6 massive coalition vessels formed a line across their path. "They are blocking our route to the Karathi system," Amy said. The largest ship was the Eternal Judgment, a Zelfarian dreadnought that could destroy the Defiant with a single shot. Admiral Vextar's face appeared on the screen again. "This is your final warning, Commander Harper. Turn back now, or we will stop you by force." Jake checked his weapons. "Commander, we have no chance against those ships. They outgun us 100 to 1. Lisa stood up. "Can we get around them?" Ben shook his head. "They have us surrounded. The only way forward is through them." Lisa looked at the coalition fleet on the screen. Those ships represented everything she had believed in for 15 years. They were symbols of peace, wisdom, and order in the galaxy. Now they stood between her and innocent people who needed help. "All hands, this is the commander," Lisa said over the ship's intercom. "We are about to engage coalition forces. They are trying to stop us from saving the Karathi. I want everyone to remember why we are here. We are not here to start a war. We are here to save lives." She turned to Jake. "Target their sensor arrays, not their weapons. We want to confuse them, not destroy them." "Understood, Commander." Lisa sat down in her command chair. "Take us in, all speed." The Defiant charged toward the coalition blockade. The larger ships fired warning shots that lit up space around them. But Lisa did not slow down. "Sensors are picking up the lead ship's targeting systems," Amy said. "They are preparing to fire. Evasive maneuvers," Lisa ordered. "Give Jake clear shots at their sensors." The Defiant danced between the massive coalition ships like a small fish swimming between whales. Jake fired precisely, hitting sensor arrays and communication equipment. The alien ships began to lose track of the small human vessel. "Break through the line," Lisa ordered. "Now." Amy pushed the ship's engines beyond their safety limits. The Defiant shot through a gap between 2 coalition ships and into clear space beyond. "We did it," Pete said, amazement in his voice. "We actually did it, but their victory came at a cost." The ship's engines were damaged from the strain. Warning. Lights flashed on every console. The Defiant was hurt, but it was still flying. "How long until we reach the Karathi system?" Lisa asked. 6 hours, Amy replied. Lisa nodded. 6 hours to save 12 billion lives. 6 hours to prove that humans would not stand by and watch genocide. Behind them, the coalition fleet was already regrouping. They would follow, they would. Try to stop what came next. But Lisa Harper had made her choice. She had crossed the line. Now she would see it through to the end, whatever that might be. The Karathi system appeared on the main screen. A yellow sun burned brightly in the center, surrounded by 7 planets. The 3rd planet was blue and green, covered with swirling white clouds. It looked peaceful from space. Beautiful even, but Ben's sensors told a different story. The asteroid field was already visible, a dark cloud of rocks heading straight for the planet. The largest asteroids were the size of mountains. There were thousands of them. "My God," Amy whispered. "How do we stop all of that?" Lisa stood up from her command chair. Her ship was damaged, her crew was exhausted, and they were about to face an impossible task. But they had come this far. They would not give up now. "Ben, scan the planet. I want to know everything about the Karathi," she said, Already on it, Commander. Ben's fingers flew over his console. Population is 12.3 billion. Technology level is roughly equivalent to Earth in the early 21st century. They have basic spaceflight, but nothing that could handle those asteroids. What about their planet? Lisa asked. Mostly water, like Earth. 7 continents. Major cities on every landmass. And Commander, they know we are here. They are sending us radio signals. Steve looked up from his communication station. I am receiving transmissions from the planet's surface. Hundreds of them. They are all asking the same question. Who are we and why are we here? Lisa felt a weight settle on her shoulders. She was about to make first contact with an alien species. The Coalition had rules about this too. Protocols, procedures, ways to introduce advanced civilizations to primitive ones without causing panic. She was about to break all of those rules. Put me through to their strongest signal, she said. Steve worked at his console. Ready, Commander. You are speaking to someone who calls himself first speaker. He seems to be their leader. Lisa took a deep breath. This is Commander Lisa Harper of the United Earthship Defiant. We have received your calls for help. We are here to assist you. The reply came quickly. The universal translator turned the alien words into English. Commander Harper, I am first speaker of the Karathi people. We did not know others lived among the stars. We are honored by your presence, but we do not understand. Why have you come? Because you asked for help, Lisa said simply. And because it is the right thing to do. There was a long pause. When first speaker replied, his voice was full of emotion. You came across the darkness between stars because we asked? You do not even know us. We know enough, Lisa said. We know you are in danger. We know you do not want to die. That is enough. Ben interrupted. Commander, I am detecting ships approaching from the outer system. Coalition vessels. A lot of them. Lisa cursed under her breath. How long do we have? Maybe an hour before they reach us. But Commander, I think I have found something. The Karathi have a unique ability. Their brains produce a type of energy that can affect quantum fields. It is very weak, but if we could amplify it somehow. Amplify it how? Ben was already working on calculations. Our deflector array uses quantum field manipulation to push objects away from the ship. If we could link our systems to Karathi volunteers, we might be able to create a field strong enough to deflect the asteroids. Would it work? I do not know. The theory is sound, but we have never tried anything like this before. And we would need Karathi people to come aboard our ship. They would have to trust us completely. Lisa looked at the planet on the screen. 12 billion people live down there. They were looking up at the stars, hoping these strange visitors could save them. First speaker, Lisa said into the communicator. We have an idea that might save your world. But we need your help. Some of your people would need to come to our ship. What do you need us to do? First speaker asked without hesitation. Lisa explained Ben's plan. It sounded crazy even to her. Link alien minds to human technology to create a weapon that had never been tested. Use quantum physics and alien biology to move rocks the size of cities. I understand, first speaker said when she finished. I will come myself. And I will bring our best scientists and engineers. 20 minutes later, a small Karathi shuttle docked with the Defiant. Lisa waited in the docking bay as the airlock opened. She had seen many alien species during her years in the Coalition, but the Karathi were different. They looked almost human, but with skin that shimmered like oil on water and eyes that were too large and too bright. First speaker was tall and thin, with silver hair and a face that seemed kind despite its strangeness. Commander Harper, he said, stepping forward. I am honored to meet the person who answered our call. The honor is mine, Lisa replied. But we do not have much time. Our enemies are coming, and the asteroids are getting closer. First speaker nodded. My people are ready to do whatever is necessary. Ben led the Karathi scientists to the ship's main deflector array. Lisa watched as humans and aliens worked together, sharing knowledge and ideas. The language barrier disappeared as they focused on mathematical equations and energy patterns. It is remarkable, one of the Karathi scientists said to Ben. Your technology does what our minds do naturally. Together, we can do what neither could do alone. Amy interrupted from the bridge. Commander, coalition ships are entering the system. Admiral Vextar is demanding to speak with you. Lisa sighed. She had hoped for more time. Put him through. Vextar's cold face appeared on the communication screen. Behind him, Lisa could see the bridge of his massive dreadnought. Commander Harper, you are in violation of 17 coalition laws. Surrender immediately, and we will show mercy. I cannot do that, Admiral. We are trying to save these people. These people are not your concern. You will cease this illegal interference and return to human space. This is your final warning. Lisa looked around the docking bay. Human and Karathi scientists were working side by side, sharing ideas and building something new together. They were creating hope where none had existed before. No, Lisa said firmly. I will not abandon these people. Vextar's eyes burned with anger. Then you have chosen war. So be it. The transmission ended. Lisa felt the ship shake as coalition weapons fired warning shots. All hands to battle stations, she announced. Prepare for combat. Jake's voice came over the intercom. Commander, they have us outnumbered 20-1. Our weapons cannot penetrate their shields. Then we do not fight them with weapons, Lisa said. Ben, how long until the deflector array is ready? 10 minutes, maybe less. The Karathi are incredible. They understand our technology better than we do. Can we use the deflector as a weapon? Paused. Maybe. If we focus all our power through the Karathi volunteers, we might be able to create a quantum shockwave. It would not destroy the coalition ships, but it might disable them. Do it. Lisa ran to the bridge. Outside the main window, she could see the coalition fleet forming an attack formation. Their ships were enormous, bristling with weapons that could turn the Defiant into space dust. But Lisa was not afraid anymore. She had made her choice. She had crossed the line. Now she would see it through to the end. First speaker, she said into her communicator. Are your people ready? We are ready, Commander Harper. Whatever happens, we will not forget what you have done for us. Hold on, Lisa said. This is going to be rough. The deflector array activated. Lisa felt a strange tingling in her mind as the Karathi volunteers linked their consciousness to the ship's systems. Power flowed through the ship like nothing she had ever experienced. Firing, Ben announced. A wave of energy shot out from the Defiant. It struck the coalition fleet like an invisible hammer. Ship after ship went dark as their systems overloaded. The mighty dreadnought Eternal Judgment drifted powerless in space. Now, Lisa said, while they are disabled, target the asteroids. The combined human and Karathi technology reached out into space. One by one, the massive rocks changed course. Instead of heading toward the planet, they began moving toward the disabled coalition ships. Admiral Vextar's face appeared on the screen again. His ship had backup power, but his weapons were offline. What have you done? He demanded. I have saved a world, Lisa said. And I have shown the galaxy that your way is not the only way. The asteroid swept past the Karathi planet, missing it by millions of kilometers. 12 billion people were safe. The coalition fleet was defeated. And Lisa Harper had written her name in the history books, but she knew this was only the beginning. 6 months later, Lisa Harper stood in chains before the Coalition High Court. The Grand Chamber was filled with representatives from 100 different species. Their eyes stared at her with curiosity, anger, and something that might have been. Respect. The charges against her were serious. Violation of the Prime Directive. Interference with natural development. Assault on coalition forces. Unauthorized first contact. Each charge carried a sentence of life in prison, but something had changed in the galaxy since that day at Karathi Prime. The news of what Lisa had done spread like wildfire across 1,000 worlds. Some species called her a hero. Others called her a criminal. Everyone called her name. Judge Kexmal, an ancient being from the oldest species in the coalition, looked down at Lisa from his high bench. His voice was like wind through dead leaves when he spoke. Commander Harper, you stand accused of crimes against the established order of this galaxy. How do you answer these charges? Lisa lifted her head. Her voice was clear and strong. I am guilty of saving 12 billion innocent lives. If that is a crime, then I am proud to be a criminal. Angry voices erupted from the gallery. Some species demanded her immediate execution. Others shouted their support. Judge Kexmal called for silence. You were given direct orders, the judge continued. You chose to disobey them. You chose to place your own judgment above the wisdom of ages. Do you not understand the chaos you have caused? I understand perfectly, Lisa replied. I have shown the galaxy that your wisdom is not always right. I have proven that sometimes the greatest service to civilization comes from refusing to serve corrupt authority. Ben Carter stepped forward from the witness stand. He had been testifying for 3 days about the scientific discoveries made through human Karathi cooperation. Your Honor, if I may, the technology we developed by working with the Karathi has advanced both species by centuries. Medical breakthroughs that could save billions of lives. Energy systems that are completely clean. Space travel methods that are twice as fast as anything the Coalition has. The law is not concerned with scientific advancement, Judge Kexmal said coldly. The law exists to maintain order. Whose order? Amy Rodriguez stood up in the gallery. She was not supposed to speak, but she did anyway. The order that allows genocide? The order that values rules more than lives? More voices joined hers. Pete Collins, Jake Morrison, Carol Newman, and Steve Walsh. One by one, Lisa's crew stood up and declared their support for what she had done. They had all been court-martialed too, but their sentences were lighter. Then something unexpected happened. First speaker of the Karathi entered the courtroom. He was not supposed to be there. The Karathi were still considered a developing species with no legal standing in coalition courts, but he walked to the center of the chamber anyway. Guards moved to stop him, but Judge Kexmal held up a hand. First speaker, the judge said. You should not be here. But I am here, first speaker replied. His voice carried through the chamber without amplification. I am here because Commander Harper gave my people the right to be here. She gave us life. She gave us hope. She gave us a future among the stars. He turned to face the gallery. Before Commander Harper came to our world, we were dying. Not just from the asteroids, but from despair. We had looked up at the stars for generations, wondering if we were alone. We sent messages into the darkness, hoping someone would answer. No one ever did. His voice grew stronger. Then came this human woman who ignored the orders of her superiors. To save people she had never met. She risked everything for strangers. That is not the action of a criminal. That is the action of a hero. Judge Kexmal was quiet for a long moment. The Coalition has maintained peace for 10,000 years by following our laws. If we make exceptions, chaos will follow. What chaos? First speaker asked. The chaos of species helping each other. The chaos of sharing knowledge and working together. The chaos of choosing compassion over cold law. Another voice spoke from the gallery. It was Ambassador Nelter from the Centauri Republic. I request permission to address the court. Judge Kexmal nodded. Ambassador Nelter stood up. She was old, even by Centauri standards, and her words carried weight. 300 years ago, my people faced a similar situation. Our sun was dying. We sent distress calls throughout the galaxy. The Coalition received our messages but chose not to help. They said it was natural development. They said we must find our own way. The chamber became very quiet. We survived, Ambassador Nulter continued, but barely. Half our population died before we developed the technology to save ourselves. The Coalition later praised us for our determination. They said we had proven ourselves worthy of membership. Her voice became bitter. But I have always wondered how many of my people would still be alive if someone had chosen to help us. How many children never grew up because the Coalition valued their rules more than Centauri lives? She looked directly at Judge Kexmal. Commander Harper did what the Coalition should have done for my people. She chose compassion over protocol. She chose life over law. More ambassadors stood up. The representative from the Rigel Union spoke about a plague that killed millions while the Coalition debated whether helping would violate the Prime Directive. The delegate from the Vega Commonwealth told of a civil war that could have been prevented with outside mediation. Story after story filled the chamber. Species after species came forward with examples of Coalition inaction in the face of preventable tragedies. Lisa realized that her actions had done more than save the Karathi. They had given other species the courage to speak about injustices they had suffered in silence. Judge Kexmal called for a recess. When court resumed 3 hours later, his expression had changed. This court has heard testimony that challenges the very foundations of Coalition law, he said slowly. Commander Harper, your actions were illegal under current statutes. However, the evidence presented suggests that those statutes may themselves be flawed. He paused and looked around the chamber. This court finds you guilty of violating Coalition orders. However, in recognition of the lives you saved and the injustices your actions have revealed, this court also awards you the Coalition Medal of Honor for exceptional service to galactic civilization. The gallery erupted in confusion. Lisa had been found guilty and honored at the same time. Furthermore, Judge Kexmal continued, this court recommends a complete review of Coalition first contact and interference policies. The evidence suggests that rigid adherence to these policies has caused more harm than good. Lisa was sentenced to time served and released. As she walked out of the courthouse, reporters from across the galaxy surrounded her. They wanted to know what she would do next. I am going home, she said simply, to prepare for what comes next. What came next was the Free Species Alliance. Within a year of Lisa's trial, 50 species had withdrawn from the Coalition to form a new organization based on mutual aid and cooperation. Instead of rigid hierarchy, Lisa found herself in command of the U's Liberation, flagship of the Alliance fleet. Her crew was the same group of humans who had followed her to Karathi Prime, plus volunteers from dozens of species who believed in her vision. The old Coalition still existed, but it was smaller now, weaker. Many of its member species had seen the success of the Alliance and chosen to switch sides. Lisa stood on the bridge of her new ship, looking out at a fleet that included vessels from 30 different species. Human ships flew alongside Karathi vessels. Former enemies worked together toward common goals. Amy Rodriguez, now her first officer, walked up beside her. Any regrets, Commander? Lisa thought about the question. She had lost her old life, her old rank, her place in the established order, but she had gained something more valuable. None, she said finally. We proved that the galaxy does not have to accept the way things are. We proved that sometimes breaking the rules is the most important thing you can do. On the planet below them, human and Karathi children played together in schools that taught both species histories. In laboratories, scientists from a dozen worlds worked on projects that would benefit everyone. In space docks, Ships were being built using technology that no single species could have developed alone. Lisa, Harper had ignored orders and written history in blood. But that blood had become the ink that rewrote the story of galactic civilization itself. The old ways were dying. The new ways were just beginning. And at the center of it all was a human woman who had chosen to care about strangers, who had decided that some things were more important than following orders, and who had proven that sometimes one person really could change the galaxy.